Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush is cancelled for UFC 288. I'm going to go over what's happened and what's going to happen next. But before I do that, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe as we have brand new videos every single week. So what has happened? Charles Oliveira has pulled out of UFC 288 with an undisclosed injury. So we don't actually know what the injury is, but rumours seem to suggest that Beneil Dariush and Charles Oliveira will be fighting at UFC 289 instead, which suggests that the injury is nothing too bad and Oliveira just needs some time to rest up. But I'm concerned. I'm not sure you can rest up and train for a fight in under 2 months. So I will not be surprised if this fight gets cancelled again. But back to UFC 288. We now have Yan Xiaonan versus Jessica Andrade in the co-main event. I'm a huge fan of Yan Xiaonan and I love Jessica Andrade. She always puts on fun fights, but this is just not good enough for a co-main event. It makes the card quite lackluster and I have no intention of watching it. I'm going to be spending time with my family for the King's coronation. And talking of kings, that leads me on to the king of cringe himself, Henry Cejudo. Is he as big a star as he pretends to be? And it also puts a lot of pressure on Aljamain Sterling. He's the champion of this division and he's supposed to sell pay-per-views. Is he able to do that? And does it kind of put into question his legitimacy as a champion even more? Moving on to another lackluster card, let's start looking at UFC 289, all the way in Canada, and they've got Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena as the main event. Imagine you're Canadian, you've got the first pay-per-view in years, and this is your main event. It's just disappointing. It's not good enough. But at least now Aljamain and Beneil Dariush are going to move on to this card and give it that little extra oomph that it needs. But like I said before, I'm not even sure that this fight will actually happen and Oliveira might pull out again. So then that begs the question, why didn't Dariush fight someone else? Because the UFC seemed to be looking for another opponent and the rumour seemed to suggest that Dariush seemed game to fight someone else, but I'm glad he didn't, because fighting an ex-champion like Oliveira and securing a win over that will get him a title shot. Nobody will be able to deny his #1 contender spot, and fighting Oliveira is his best chance at that. Overall though, this highlights to me that the UFC struggles to make legitimate stars, and also their deal with ESPN makes them put on 30 events a year, which means that they're forced to create all of these fight nights and it spreads their roster too thin. We had a fight night recently in Kansas City with Max Holloway and Arnold Allen, and I absolutely loved the card. It was fantastic. If you'd have just taken all of those fighters, moved them over to UFC 288, and put on a main event with Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo at the top, that'd be a perfect pay-per-view. I'd have loved every second of it. You should not be having Max Holloway on fight nights. Max Holloway is not a fight night fighter. As much as they keep putting him on fight nights, he's a huge draw, he's a huge star, and he should be on pay-per-views, and it's such a shame that they're wasting him in such a way. Though hopefully we'll hear some news about UFC 288 soon and they'll have put some more fights on the card. There's rumours that Gilbert Burns might be on it. He seems to have suggested it on Twitter, and Dana White seems to suggest that it's a possibility. But the issue is, I'm just not sure who he's going to fight. I can't see anyone in that division risking fighting Gilbert Burns on such short notice for little to no reward, because usually if you take a fight like this, you'll be moved towards that title picture. And Colby Covington has already been confirmed by Dana White that he will be getting the next title shot. So there is no reward. So let's hope something exciting can happen, but I very much doubt it. I do think that's all we've got time for. Thank you for watching. If you can like, comment and subscribe, it really does help us out.